the night. Normally, there's a 5-minute buffer before a meeting to submit questions. We've eliminated that. We understand some people might be coming in late. We understand some people might be, work and Dorchester Road and all that. So if, even as you're sitting here thinking, you have another comment or something you'd like to add to the discussion, please go fill out a card, add it to the stack, and we'll get to it in due course. Hopefully we can get to everything. We're, again, focusing on broader issues, district-wide concerns, policies, and initiatives. Avoiding personal matters or privacy laws or district policies requires issues involving individuals to be handled privately with school and district administration. So again, we're trying to get the big picture view. Respecting privacy and confidentiality, remarks must not include the names or identifying details about students or staff. Privacy is essential for maintaining a safe and respectful environment. Obviously, maintaining a respectful tone, disrespectful language, personal attacks, targeting individuals. We're not doing that. We're all here to have a nice talk tonight. And if you have additional comments, again, we should be able to get to everyone in turn and hear what everyone has to say. But we're going to try to get through the whole stack. And there is quite a stack. Without further ado, Dr. Wimberly, do you have any hellos to say before we start?
Good evening. It's Friday night, y'all, and y'all are in here, and we greatly appreciate that. It says a lot about your support of our school district, our schools, our staff, and most importantly, our students. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate you all being here, and we are looking forward to this opportunity to have some good conversations, answer your questions, and hopefully build some bridges. That's the purpose of this, is for us to have time to build connections, and we want everyone to leave here feeling like their questions have been answered and feeling confident about what they've heard. So thank you again for your participation. We greatly appreciate it.
Fantastic. And I will just add that, again, if you submit it online, I don't expect you to have memorized that question that you submitted. So I have copies of all the ones that were submitted. And if I find you in the room, I will hand you your question. If you want to read it, you're welcome to read it. I can read it for you if you want me to read it for you. Either way. So in order of submissions is Ben. I'm going to mess your last name up. Ben, is that you?
That's me.
Perfect. So pronounce your last name.
Huff.
Huff. Perfect. There you go, sir. Let me hold this mic for you.
Thank you.
Okay. I got you.
Okay, gotcha. All right, great. I'm going to sit down probably a little bit on the question I have here too, for just to keep it, to add a little more to it. But will Somerville High School have tennis courts ready by August 1st for the girls' tennis season? I know there's many of the high schools in our district have courts in poor condition. Somerville, I think, would be the worst. I'm just curious if you guys, I know at the last board meeting that question was asked to you. We had some presentations going on. You were proposed with A, we resurface, which we know would maybe go a year, maybe two if we're lucky. B, we move the courts, which was a plan we had, but that budget for doing so on the campus at Somerville is way over than what you budgeted to get new courts done. So it doesn't look like that would be plausible for that August 1st date, which is when the season starts. And so I just want to ask first, do you already guys have an answer to that question, and then have a follow-up after you respond?
So the question about whether or not they will be ready for August, yes. So that is the plan. The plan is to have the courts resurface this summer so that the students will be able to start the year playing on them.
Fantastic. And the follow-up is, 4 years ago, we were in the same situation. I sent a few emails saying, resurfacing probably wouldn't be a very good solution because it would be very short term. It ended up being very short term, 1 year, and then again we were without using courts the second, third, and fourth year after that. And we had to wait until now, 4 years later, and we're back to the same problem though. So I'm curious, we're going to resurface, which we've done this before. Can we go ahead and get the plan B started now? And I'm curious what your plan B is, because we know these courts won't last but maybe a year. What is the next step, and how soon can we accomplish the next step?
Well, I mean, I think the plan is to eventually have new courts. The issue is, as it is with many things, unfortunately for us, is the funding. It's not that we don't see them as a priority, that we don't want them. We know that students need them. And, I know other people have said it has to do with it not affecting a great number of students, and that's not really true, because my understanding is that the courts are used by the PE students as well. So it's not that at all. Again, it just comes down to funding. And we're in a situation right now where, because of the growth throughout our district, we've got to prioritize classrooms and seats in classrooms and making sure that we're planning for the future so we have enough space for these kids that are coming. So that has to be the priority. Now, again, we know that extracurricular activities are vital and very important to all of our students, and so we want to have tennis courts that are playable. Our plan is to have them, but it has been pushed back so that we are able to save, and that's part of the plan, to save so that we have enough money to do it right. Because I think that's the concern. If we were just to push forward without making that land what it needs to be, building it up, we're going to end up, as you're saying, in the exact same situation where we have courts that are, where water and flooding is a concern again. So we want to do it, we want to do it right, and in order to do it right, we're going to have to wait until we're able to save some money and have the budget for that. I don't know, I know Mr. Farrell's here. Do we have an exact timeline? I mean, would you mind? Jeff, sorry, yeah, Jeff. Yes, Jeff, if you don't mind. Do we have, as far as the timeline, is there, not for the resurfacing, for, the next step?
So we had committed for a 3-year, 8% program. Obviously this is year 1, year 2 will be, I guess technically it comes up at the end of 26, or end of 25 is the year 2 money, the end of year 26 is the year 3 money, year 4 money would be the end of year 27, and that's when we were going to try to allocate the money for those funds. Unless, I guess, we were able to see some significant savings in these first 3 years. Because the board had already signed off on a lot of HVAC projects and things like that, so those are all going to have to get accomplished first. And then if we have savings in year 3, we can look to put it towards that and some other projects that we have that are not funded, or potentially we'll do year 4, 5, and 6, so 27.
Does that answer your question?
Well, I don't know if I need the mic or not. Y'all can hear me.
So, yeah, it sounds like we're going to resurface the courts. We know this will be a year, hopefully, that we can have usable courts once that's done. But then we're going to be, again, back to no courts on that 2nd year, 3rd year, waiting for funding to build back up, to build new courts. Could be 4 years, who knows? I'm just wondering if we could renew what I heard 4 years ago, and I don't know if this was something our Superintendent Robbins had crushed, but I had heard that there was talks with the school board, with the county, about doing an off-site tennis facility, and there could be bundling of funds from the county and the school district. I know most of these school board people, I can't remember if y'all were around 4 years ago, 3 years ago with any of those conversations, and if they're remembered by anybody, but to me, that would be one of the best ways of moving forward, because the county doesn't have tennis courts in their parks and rec. The school, again, doesn't have really viable property to do courts. They're just, even the new place we're trying to put courts has to be a lot of mitigation with wetlands and things like that. So anybody on the board interested or thought about trying to do an off-site campus like was done with the swim teams at the new aquatic, the new swim center, where they've had multiple schools sharing a swim team, but maybe which could be Somerville and Ashley Ridge, who also has problems with courts in the wetlands sharing facility, and we could go a lot faster if the county would help us out. And also I heard talk about the public having access to, the citizens, the taxpayers getting access to these courts if it was a shared facility, not just the school, but the folks in town, when the school's not using it, could then use the courts, which is pretty often. Okay. Any discussion of that happened with the school board, or yeah, go ahead, yes.
I was not here when all of that discussion was going on, so of course I'm open to anything that would enable us to help support our students and as they work in the various areas that they are gifted in, whether it's swimming, basketball, or whatever it may be. But I will be very frank when I say this: if there is money, for me, at this point, we don't have enough in order to sufficiently support our teachers. And that is my priority. Making sure we have teachers qualified. We have them wanting to be here, We just don't have the money to pay them to be here. So that is my priority in order to make sure that our teachers, our staff members, whomever it may be, if it's academic, I want to make sure they have all of that. To me, that, and my kids play sports. So the bottom line is, I also believe that sports cannot take the place of funding that we would need for, not for me anyhow, for our teachers to be in the classroom and our ground to be kept, our buses to run, etc. So back then, there was a time when we had money. We had lots of it apparently, but we didn't necessarily see it all, but we had some. Right now, audience, we need money. And we need you to use your influence in order to help us get that money. And when we get it, I'll be one of the first ones there to help support the tennis team and anyone else that needs it.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, I think we have a great relationship with our county officials, so I'm not against, I'm sure Ashley, I, and the board, the rest of the board will be happy to meet with them, circle back, and see if that's something that is on the table that they consider or were considering, and just find out where that went and circle back to you and give you that response.
Yeah, I agree. I do remember when that conversation came up. It never really went anywhere with the county. I don't think it was the school district saying we wouldn't participate. I just think it never really got going, period. But I agree, we're always open for partnerships. I mean, that's something we'd always, consider. Just so it's not that we're against it. I haven't heard anyone talk about that recently from the county.
Okay, I'm going to push us forward because I have 47 more
Thank you
pieces
so
of paper in my
much.
hand. Yeah. Fantastic. Is April Stratz in the room? April Stratz, going once, going twice, flipping. Is Yakisha Booker in the room?
She's not, I called her.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Bates. Is Cartina Vanderhorst in the room? Love it. You guys just holler if you're here. Is Azur D. Powell in the room? Again, all their questions will be noted and answered and on the website next week. Laura Crosby, Victoria Cox. There was a student that asked if we had school on Friday. We did. We did.
I hope they found out beforehand.
They did. We reached out. Don't worry. Appreciate that. Is Eric Lepkitcher in the room? Eric, no. Okay. Had 2 for Eric. See, we're going great. Is Rachel Machado in the room? Perfect. Is Karen Bowen in the room? Is Christina, I don't have a last name, I think works in transportation. Is Christina here? Hi, Christina.
Hi.
Would you like to read one of your questions?
No.
Okay, they will be answered and available to you on the website next
You
week.
don't want to read them?
No,
I think
do you want me to read it for you?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
You just have to pick
That is an option, of course. Christina asks, why was the money and time spent on student IDs and it is not required for students to use them for transportation or school or sports? Would anyone like to take that?
So just to try to understand your question, are you referring to the fact that students don't have to use it? When you say transportation, do you mean to get onto the bus? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. Well, just to start out with, I think IDs are used for other things as well. So they need, student IDs for this specifically for lunch, I know, and then other extracurricular activities as well. So it says parents are strongly encouraged to have their student IDs for buses so that they can track their students' whereabouts during the transition to and from home. And so I think your concern is that they're allowed to get on the bus anyway, even if they don't have it. Is that what you're asking?
Correct. They don't use them.
They don't use them?
Correct.
Right. So I think...
Then how do we know?
I think you have access to a system that shows you their face, correct? So you can identify like the student that's getting on. I'm just trying to make sure I understand what you're asking. I want to make sure we get to it.
So basically, the bottom line is if you're driving, you gotta pick up a student, right? Or you come to a stop, pick up students, especially high schoolers. Sometimes there could be a new student. Maybe they're not actually a student. The driver wouldn't even know if they were actually a student or not a student. I'm talking safety. You know, you go through training and you have a person who maybe you think is a student gets on the bus and the vehicle, but they're not. And then there's no telling what could actually happen. Yes, we have a tablet that is, there are some pictures of students on there, but the tablet is not current. The tablet is, I don't know who handles the database for this because, in my opinion, it's a disaster. I don't know how to explain it. I can show you.
Sure. No, I understand.
But it's a real disaster.
So your concern
The
is,
GPS, but
so the main concern
Safety
is
concern.
non-students
Safety.
getting on the
a
bus.
safety concern. And, you know, and when things start, so let's say you have a fight and something is escalating and, you know, we're supposed to write the students up or something. And you ask them for their ID and then, you know, they don't have an ID, you have to pull, you know.
So you try to ask them if you don't recognize the student. I mean, because I feel like you probably have the same students get on regularly, correct? But you're saying occasionally there'll be a student you don't recognize.
Right.
And so
I mean,
you'll
each
ask them
driver- every
for
driver
your
goes through this.
ID,
So
and
this
then-
isn't just for me, this is
If-
every driver goes through this.
Right.
So,
Okay. Yeah. Well, that is definitely
safety.
something that, yes, thank you for asking that, because that is definitely something we can look into.
I mean, I would think if we spent the money on the IDs and the tablets and all this for
Sure.
safety reasons, they should be mandatory, it should be mandatory that they use them. When the
Right.
students find out that it's not mandatory, they don't have to use it. They don't use
They
it. They
forget,
say, oh,
right.
I lost it. Well, they can actually, if their name is on the tablet, they can actually tap their name and, you know, basically it's like signing in.
Mhm.
They just have to tap their name and their picture.
And then can you match the face with the picture to make sure you have the right student?
If there is a picture.
Okay. So we,
I
so,
mean, I've had students, high school students who have had, the one boy had a 4th grade picture on there and he's in 11th grade.
okay. So we just need to make sure that that data is up to date and stays current. I'm sure, I know we have movement of students in and out, but I agree, it needs to be a priority to make sure that we're keeping that data current and updating it regularly.
I'm sure it's difficult, but I don't know who's in charge of all that.
Sure, but I agree, that's definitely important and would be important for safety as well. So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
And thank you for your question, because it actually caused me to wonder about some other things. They're supposed to wear the ID, and so if that's not happening, then we need to check as to why not. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is Stephanie King with us this evening? Stephanie King? No. Christina, you get the award for having the most submitted things, so I'm going to make you your own. No, I'm going to make you your own pile over here. But I want to try to get to as many different people as we can, and then I will circle back if there's one that you want to. Again, they will all be on the website, but you won the award for having the most, and we love that. Is Alexander Moultrie in the room? Just checking, perfect. Liza, am I saying Liza Jury? Yes, no, perfect. P.L. Mina. I hope none of these are joke names. I think out loud.
I know, that's what I.
Right. Andrew Blaisdell. Now we're going to get to the cards very soon. Simone Cookson. Perfect. Andrea Yelton. No. Have an anonymous. Aisha Jadoon. Brian Cook. No. Brian Cook again. Jason Rocker, yes, sir.
Okay, if you're gonna go ahead and hold the microphone's a little louder, but that's okay. So, you know that I don't even need to ask my question, right? I've been speaking at the school board meetings for years. I came back in November. I've been summarily shut down. Repeatedly. In fact, you didn't reply to my email in January. So, back to the question I've been asking for months about the bullying policies and why they are not being followed. Period. Full stop. You know that I am not lying about that. So, I do want open communication. I have been asking for open communication. The floor is yours. Please let me know what you intend to do to change things for the better.
I'm just going to start out by saying we are following our bullying policy. Our bullying policy is enforced in all of our schools. I believe that we also know that it's important that we are constantly looking for new opportunities to work with our schools, our parents, our community to better serve our students and make sure that we have best practices in place, but we most certainly are following and enforcing our bullying policy.
I would just like to reiterate that through the website, www.honoringjulian.com, I have received multiple requests for help from other parents in multiple districts, obviously including DD2, who have stories that sound a whole lot like mine from 2022. And I want their stories in 2025 to not be mine. So, I understand what you say that you believe is being followed, but I am telling you, and all of our teachers know, that it is not. And I do have all of the email chains that do stop with you multiple times.
Well, just to be honest with you, I think it's unfair of you to say that our teachers and our administrators are not enforcing it or not following it, because I do believe that they are, and I believe that they work very hard. They care about these students. They're passionate about what they do. They're certainly not here because we're able to pay them. They're here because they love their students and they want what's best for them. It's the same for this board. It's the same for every person in this district. We care about our students. Their safety, their security, their happiness, their opportunities to be successful, it's all that matters to any of us. And that goes down to every single student in this entire district. So again, when I say that we're enforcing the policy, we are. Now, I believe that every single one of us up here is open to having discussions about anything, not just this topic, but anything that we can do to better serve our students. We will always entertain ways and opportunities that we can be better. That goes for everything across this entire district. I think that's why each and every one of us ran for school board. That's why every person in this room is sitting here. That's why these people are here on a Friday night, because we all care about students. We want to do what's best and what's right for them. So we are always open, and that's something that we've talked about. It's a goal that we've talked about, having, and Mr. Doherty and I have had many conversations, as he has with other board members up here, looking at more than what we can do to have conflict resolution classes, to having, anti-bullying opportunities to educate not only our students, but our parents. And we are discussing having those kind of plans in the future. And again, we're open to ideas to how that can look, and we would welcome support and help from parents and community members, because I can promise you that within these schools, we are doing everything that we can to provide the best and safest opportunities and environment for every single student.
Respectfully. And you know that I've been respectfully.
Sure. Check. Oh, what happened?
Respectfully, and you know that I have been at that podium respectfully for years. including helping get some of you all elected a few years ago. I understand and agree with what you say. You've heard me speak about teachers needing help. Teachers want to help children. Do you recall I said two words about what prevented proper action from happening in our particular case, and what I have now seen in several other very similar cases. Do you know what those two things are that I said that the teachers, the administration need and they don't have? Do you remember those two words? Any of you? This is what I mean by saying that I've not been heard for months. Your teachers do not have the resources or the authority to do their jobs properly. They love their students. They try so hard. When they ask for help and they get denied, they cannot speak up about it publicly for fear of their own jobs. Between myself and other teachers that cannot come up and speak publicly, I've had these one-to-one conversations. So I know the teachers care. I've said that. I've been at the podium and told this board, two new members, notwithstanding, because I've been doing this for a few years, that I understand that they care. And the question is, why can they not get it done when they do care? Again, you have all of the emails with exactly what happened with our situation, which ended with the district lawyer when I asked why it was not followed properly, and they have not responded to me for months. Again, you have all of these. I have been absolutely 100% transparent, so you can't say that you don't know about something. When I ask you if you remember the two words, I punctuated that. The teachers do not have the resources, they do not have the authority to do what they need to do. But you didn't remember that I said that, which means that I have been dismissed repeatedly because I finally lost my temper the other night, and now you all think that I'm attacking you. The whole time that I've been trying to help. Until we had our tragedy, I was speaking from one side of a prevention for my own family. After suffering our tragedy, I'm speaking for everybody else not to be in our shoes. And you know that I am being 100% honest, and if you think that I am not being 100% honest, again, I challenge you to review every single thing that I've sent you. Every time I've been at the podium, every time I stood outside of a polling location to shake hands for the people that can help our students.
I'm one of the new members on the board. Yeah, that mic doesn't work.
Is that working? There we go. I'm one of the new members on the board, so I don't have a long history and whatnot, but I can tell you personally, not speaking on behalf of the entire board as myself, okay? You have been heard, and I understand your situation, and I'm sorry for the tragedy that you've had to endure. That said, if I understood what your question is why isn't the board, why isn't the district following policy? Our contention is we are following policy. Now, I would ask a question of the community and take this up one layer. We all know that culturally, we have challenges. One of the symptoms of those challenges is bullying, disrespect, discourteousness, not respecting teachers, not respecting each other. That is a problem that requires all of us to participate in solving. These 6 members on the board, our superintendent, the entire administration, and every single teacher cannot solve that problem. That said, I'm interested in hearing specific questions about what in our policy should be changed. What suggestions do you have? Because, again, I'm not going to speak on behalf of everyone else here, but I will tell you admittedly, I don't have the answer to every bloody question that faces our district. Okay? We have got serious challenges as a culture, as a community. Part of it's money, part of it's parents, part of it's children, part of it, yes, could be things that we're doing within the district. I'm interested in hearing genuine questions, specific suggestions that we might need to take to update our policies. I've reviewed our policies as we were required to do. We're going through that process right now. Okay? I can't find anything in the policy that says we should update or change this policy because of X. I don't see it. Now, if somebody else has a different perspective, we are open. I will speak on behalf of everybody because I've worked with these people. Okay? They are open to hearing and finding a solution that works for our community and for our children. And that includes the teachers who have to deal day in and day out with the cultural challenges that come into their classrooms.
Thank you.
I'm just going to piggyback off of what he said, and I mean, just because I think we all share the sentiments, and I just wanted to respond before we go on tangents, that, you know, our entire board, I know all these people very well, I've gotten to know them very well, working alongside them, and even our district staff, our new superintendent, I don't know one person who isn't committed wholeheartedly with every ounce of their being to ensuring our students are safe, feel like they're in a protected learning environment that they can do well in, that our teachers have the support and resources they need. I think every single one of us is continually evaluating, looking, racking our brains how we can continue to support them in this ever-changing environment and the challenges we face as a society, as a culture, as a school district, as a community. And I know that the people, every single person on this board and in our district is deeply, deeply committed to that goal, so.
So very quickly, because I have done this before with very pointed questions and recommendations. I understand you are new to the board, so I appreciate that. You have gotten emails from me, which should have clued you in that there is more of a story had you wanted to look. What I have suggested is that we use standardized platforms and programs that everybody knows how to report where it goes instead of having to follow through Dojo, Parent Square, Power School, emails, Blackboard. It gets lost in translation because we keep changing the way that we do this. And I've said this before, so to your point, I have said that I have suggestions. I haven't just been coming up here and berating everybody. And it is there for you to find. I have said these things before. I would love to work for something better. The thing that happens, though, is that I come to the school boards and I ask to be heard, and it's obvious that I have not been heard.
Mr. Brockett, you've been heard. And the bottom line is simply this. I have not been here the entire time when all of this was going on. Bullying has been around for a long time, and it has changed from the time I was in the classroom, from the time I was a little girl, what was bullying then. It's not bullying now, it's a whole different ballgame. But the bottom line is simply this. On behalf of the board, I've spoken with you, and I said, we want to get together and talk. We want you to share your ideas. So please don't make it seem as though we are shutting you down. During the board meeting, there's a limited amount of time, basically, that is given to each and every individual. But the opportunity for you to come and share your ideas with us has been presented, and now it's just a matter of us working out what's going to work for you and possibly your father if he comes and the other young lady that was there. We want to hear it, and I am appalled if there's a teacher in this district who says they fear losing their job. Then if that is the case, why am I going into these schools? Why do these board members go into the school to talk to the teachers if they don't feel they can talk to us? Then what purpose are we serving doing that? It takes gas and time to go and say to these teachers, I'm here, I want to hear your concerns. Those that know me, they have no problem with coming to me. And if they don't know me, they know some of these at least these two, because they've been here a while. And they have always worked, as far as I can tell. Well, not you came with me. Okay. But the bottom line is simply this. We are here. For any teacher that's listening, if you have a need or a concern, please contact us, one of us, because I want to know who those people are. They feel as if the bullying is going on and nothing's being done. Now, there are certain guidelines also that we have to follow according to the law. And we will follow those because we cannot afford to be sued. I don't want to be sued. So I will follow the law. But when it comes to our children and protecting them, we may have to get some lawyers in order to help protect us But the bottom line is we want our students to be safe. And I cannot say to you again and again how sorry I am that your son is not still here. That's a hurt that I don't think you ever get over, but you can live and continue to help others not go through what you're going through now. And that's what you have said you want to do. So I will say this, as opposed to making a whole lot of public announcement, please meet with us, you, your family, and the others that have these needs. Would love to meet with them and see what we can put together. Whatever holes we have in our program, we want to fill them. We don't want another child to basically commit suicide or die. In my career, I've had students in this district commit suicide. So I don't want that feeling. I don't like that feeling. And that's one of the reasons I'm committed to working with you. The bottom line is simply this. Any parent, but we need parents to do their job. Help your children learn how to be decent citizens. I don't know where the camera is and if they can see it or not, but the bottom line is we cannot raise your children because I would raise them the way I was raised. And you wouldn't like that. So take care of your children. We're there to educate them. Our teachers, many of them do not even have children. And yet, we have ruling, disruptive, don't want to be there children. I have a plan for them too, but we haven't talked about that yet. So the bottom line is simply this. We want your children educated. We do not want them coming to school and making the lives of others difficult for them to learn. But we're going to do all we can. We can't do anything else at this point for your son. But we can make a difference in the name of your son for those that are here. If they're going through something, we want to know about it. Even if it's a student, tell them, send us a text or whatever it is, so that we can talk with them. If they don't feel they can go through the school, which I don't understand why not, but we will investigate that as well.
If we had time for a much longer conversation, I could explain
We'll do that during our meeting.
Why so many people do not feel comfortable coming forward. I have actually done that publicly, and respectfully again, because I've had so many one-to-one conversations that are later denied, I do not want to speak non-recorded or non-publicly because that has already come back negatively on me. So, forgive me if I do not want to have an outside conversation or in a conference room with nobody else conversation. I don't want to do that. I've done that before, and those things go away. Again, you have all the emails. You're welcome to reread all of them for the entire story, or you can watch my podcast where I lay it all out for the public to see.
Speak up for Joy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to push forward. I do have you on the cards, though. So I just want to make sure we try to get everybody a trip to the microphone first. Moving forward, Daniel, sorry, no last name given. No. Brittany Mahoney in the room? No. Okay, I'm sorry. Demetrius, no last name given. Perfect. Katie Chennis in the room? No. George Bird. Tara King. Sim James Shepard. Perfect. Again, all on the website next week. Iona Jenkins. Yes, ma'am. Would you like to read your question? Or do you want me to read it for you? You can read it. I brought it. Yeah.
My name is Iona Jenkins. I have a middle schooler that has special ed classes. We're working strongly to get her out of that. With all the DEI stuff, my question is, what kind of safeguards, protections, and plans are there for the kids that are special ed students and have IEPs to protect them in the event that there's no longer funding or the funding goes away or anything like that? Because it's a real need, and she's not the only one. And because there are so many kids with disabilities, learning disorders, and all the other things, that diversity, equity, and inclusion would preclude them. My question is, what do we have to look forward to ensure that her education continues?
Well, so the good news is that students with IEPs are protected by the law. I have a student with an IEP as well, and so we are obligated to follow federal, state, and local laws when it comes to that, and we have no plans to not do that. So, I mean, does that answer your question?
When you say they're protected by the law,
Mm-hmm.
then my question then becomes, as the laws change and people in power say and dismiss different things, what happens then?
Well,
Are you referring to the possible dismantling of the Federal Department of Education and how that could affect the
Yes,
funding?
ma'am.
You know, and I'm not gonna pretend I have the answer to that question wholeheartedly, like right now, because we just don't know what's happening, where that's gonna happen, how that funding, is it gonna be reallocated through a different department, what that's gonna look like. But I know as a district, as a board, we're committed to protecting our students, especially our students that are special learners, and ensuring that they have adequate opportunity to an education and a free and fair education, and one that they can flourish in. So I know that we're gonna be committed to ensuring that's protected. We just don't know what that looks like right now.
But will parents be getting as much warning notice as possible?
As we have information, and I don't mean to speak, but I mean, like, we try, as much as we get that information, we update and let you guys know what we know. You know, we're very committed to transparency and ensuring that as those mandates come down or as those things change, we're gonna let the people know who are affected by those changes, because obviously we want you to be able to advocate and be there to support your children as well. So I think, you know, I can speak for my child too, like my child has special needs too. So like, I definitely understand the need to make sure those support systems are still in place and just not ripped away from your children, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for your question.
It is Sharon Estes in the room. Oh, it's Maria Harlan. Oh, that wasn't yet. Sorry. Derek Austin. Almost to the cards. Amber Burrows. Marissa Fabaro. Sorry, Heather, no last name given. Greta Dallimore. Great. Is Meredith Noah still here? Hi, Meredith. You had the distinction of being the last person to submit after the printing happened. Are you able, I don't have it in my hand. Are you able to sum up your question?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Okay. Because I tried to rewrite it just in case. I'm curious, because I know that we're going through a bit of a budget crisis. As a teacher in DD2, there's been talk about, there's been lots of talk about consolidation between DD2 and DD4, but has there been any talk amongst our school board, district office, about just consolidation within our district? What are there ways that you've identified that we could make our school district and our school sites more efficient and save money? And whether that looks in the form of finding, moving different positions around or moving people to different, I'm just curious what talks have been done and what things that you guys already have in the works.
I just want to go on record and say that you identified the crisis as a budget crisis. Not that I would argue with that assessment, but we are going to have some budget challenges. So we try and figure out how to address more need and more priority than resources. That's just the practical reality and just being candid. The kinds of thinking that you're bringing to the table is one of the reasons I ran to be on the board, okay? We have experience, and if this is new to anybody, you've been asleep and under a rock. We've experienced tremendous growth. The way in which it's been managed hasn't been the best, and we find ourselves running from behind, okay? Whether it's tennis courts, That was one of the things that was not on my list of things when I got on the board was tennis courts first. But to deferred maintenance on the buildings that we have, to looking at the dispersion of students and how we zone and make and optimize the use of the facilities that we have. And if you look at the numbers that we have for our schools, very few of our buildings are below what I would consider to be a good level that you can handle controlled growth. Many of them are over 80, 90, some of them are over 100%. That's a problem, okay? We've got no place to put them. So, to try and get directly to your question, we're entertaining any and all ideas that anybody's got. From my standpoint in thinking about what are we going to do, we need to take a longer view of everything that's going on in our district, okay? And this is not intended to look backwards and lay blame on anybody. We are where we are, okay? And the fact of the matter is, with the number of new homes that are going to be coming online, the number of building permits for new homes that are not yet online, but they're coming, we are going to grow tremendously as a district. Now, before I moved down here, I was up in Greenville, 78,000 students across a larger geography than we have in Dorchester County, although there aren't two swamps between the two districts in Greenville. So we have to be thinking with that in mind, because that's the growth rate that we're projected for. And we haven't been historically thinking that way. A lot of the thinking has been around the next election cycle or the next state budget cycle, rather than saying we have to look forward. And we have to be looking for each one of these kids that we get. It's not a one-year cycle, it's 12 years. So we have to be thinking that way. And that level of thinking, we need fresh ideas. We need people to provide their inputs. But as a board, we've been talking about it in a number of different ways. Finding sustainable funding is the topic du jour, pretty much, between talk of trying to consolidate the two districts and that somehow solving our financial problems, which in my opinion, it won't. Probably doing something at the state level and looking at the way we fund education. And I could go on this rant because I do, and they're probably sick of hearing me do that. The way we fund education in the state is inane. Okay? If we really care about our children, if we really want to fulfill our mission as stated in our state constitution to provide a public education for all students, then we need to get serious about it. And I'm one of those that doesn't believe that lotteries and casinos and things like that are the way to go about funding education. So we need more conversation around that. I don't know if I answered your question or not, but.
And then I'm kind of piggybacking off because I'm not sure. I'm going back to your question. I might need you to repeat it. But you said something about consolidation of like the district within.
Yes.
And so I think some of that is our right sizing, looking at our allocations and making sure that we're not over allocated and we're spending that money wisely. Looking at district positions, we have eliminated some. I don't know if you've seen, but in the past we did have a study done, a salary study, and it did compare our district to other districts our size, and our district office is actually significantly lower. In fact, it was the smallest of all the districts our size. So I do commend our board and our district for prioritizing classrooms over district staff. But even then, we still try to find that balance of making sure we have the proper staff at the district level to support all our teachers, because you know that's crucial to ensuring that you're successful in the classroom as well and have all the tools and supports that you need. But we also have to make sure that we're doing that responsibly in a way that we can ensure that the money we save can go into the pockets of our teachers and ensure that they're getting paid adequately for the jobs that they have. So we're always looking internally on what we can do, and I know board members up here, we're meeting regularly with delegation members and county council and DD4. I mean, just in the last couple weeks, we've met with all of them. So we're going to continue to advocate for long-term solutions, sustainable funding, and ways that we can ensure that we're able to cover those costs and put that more in the classroom, and that's our focus. I think every board member on here is classroom focused and ensuring that those dollars are getting to the students, and that's our priority.
That was exactly what I was asking, yes ma'am.
Thank you so much. Did anyone else? Oh, please.
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not talking about district members. if you're a parent or a community member, how many of you know how the state, how we get our funding for taking care of the needs of the school? You in this district, you can't raise your hand. So no one really knows. Yes. Oh, but, I mean, you
You
know.
want me to talk about Act 388?
Well, I've heard so much about that, and it's not making me happy, so I won't go there. Yes, ma'am.
You receive your funding through commercial establishments, taxes?
Businesses.
Yes.
So, you know, some parents, like they'll even say, when I was in educator or whatever, they would say things like, well, we pay your salary. No, it doesn't pay our salary. And so the funding right now comes from the business community, and folks don't want to increase anything on the businesses, so where are we going to get the money? And I know, regardless as to what we're talking about, I'm always going to come back to saying, where are we getting the money to pay for people to be in the classrooms, to drive our buses, to run our district? And that is something parents need to be aware of, and we need them to advocate for their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. You know, District 2 has always been number 1. We are mentally still number 1. But as far as the finances, we're not. And so we don't have the means to keep the teachers that we need. We still have good teachers, but we can have better ones if we had better pay. And if I was in the classroom today, I would go and get my 30, 40, whatever it is they paying that extra for a period of time, especially if you're in their retirement. That's the reality of it, people. So help us, help you, help your children become aware as to what is going on when it comes to DD2 and the finances. I'm through.
We do have a board workshop. It's public, the one for, right, Monday, public input board workshop on our budget at 4 p.m. So if you are interested in learning more about our budget and our financing, please, we welcome you. We would love to see you there. So, and I'll let us keep going.
We're going to press on. Yeah, we've got just a few more minutes. We do have some cards. I'll get her card, I promise. Don't worry. I've got some in my hand already. First of all, did anyone else submit online after 4 p.m.? Okay, great. So I don't have any more outstanding online. If you have a card, you can hand it to me. And then I'm going to go in order.
Brian, and I think we
Oh,
only have
that's
about
okay.
15 more minutes because we're already at the end.
Okay, great. We got a few more minutes. On the top of my list is Miss Sharon. Oh, I can read it? Okay, wonderful. Sharon would like to know, are you still using metal detectors at Summerville High School? My daughter has not noticed them being used lately. It really gave me peace of mind when they were implemented. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yes, 100%. We are still using them. It's random and it's done, sporadically. The students don't know when it's going to occur, but we do receive a log of that each month to ensure that it is being done at all of our high schools. Continues. Yes, I agree. It's good to know that it's happening.
And Chester.
Yes, and we still have Chester visiting our schools regularly, but not scheduled as well.
Thank you so much. Is Lisa in the room, whose name I'm going to butcher? Hi.
I'd like to kind of amend mine too.
Oh, that's all right.
So you were talking about salary or keeping. I'm concerned about the teacher-student ratio, which is very important. High school, all grades. I was elementary teacher, but when I was a teacher, we visited Horry County, and they talked about the developers, and they would pay the school district so much money per house being built. And I cannot understand why our legislative delegation cannot allow this to be happening when we have 15,000 homes.
Do you have a few hours to sit and talk with us?
There has to be a way to charge the developers who are buying up all of this land. They're from out of state. They're not taking care of this. There has to be a way to get this done.
I will say there was a bill, and I can't remember what it is right now. It was a concurrency bill, I believe is what it is about, and it requires that the developers purchase, like, give us land or the school district's land, make sure they have the roads in place, the infrastructure in place prior to being able to build the homes. I don't know where that legislation is currently, but I mean, again, like, that's unfortunately outside of our control, and we are always advocating and trying to ensure that we get coverage for those
But it's
things and those
informed
needs.
people like you who will gather all your friends and your neighbors, your HOAs, and you all will take that visit down to your legislators and have that conversation with them.
So is this county council level or is this state level?
It's county. The
More
impact
county.
fees would come through the county. And we are actually having conversations right now with our county regarding that. So that's what I was gonna say. So in order for them to work, you have to have not only the county on board, but also the towns. So that would be the town, the city of North Charleston and the town of Somerville. So it seems like such a simple answer, and I agree, and we have had them in the past, but there were legal issues with that. It's a long story, but it is something that we are discussing currently with our county council and the city of North Charleston and the town of Somerville.
And then who's responsible for giving Google tax breaks for 40 years or whatever? That's county council? And that was done behind closed doors, right?
I don't know, that's the county.
The school board really isn't involved in any of those decisions, right? Those things occur at the county.
But you need to have money to budget.
We do need money.
And we don't have fiscal autonomy, so we're relying on the county. Right.
Yeah, so that's why we are currently having conversations with the county and with our state delegation, because truthfully, this board doesn't really have any authority to change the way the funding situation is here.
Thank you, ma'am. Next we have Ms. Jamie Cronenmeyer.
Yes.
Would you like to read your question?
I could just summarize
Okay.
my question. I'm sorry, I'm very loud. I'm just here to beg you to lift your policy that prevents teachers from handing back completed assessments that students have made. So when students take their quizzes and tests in my daughter's school in Ashley Ridge, we are told that the teachers are not allowed to return the completed assessments. So they get their grade, but they have no idea what they did wrong. And my daughter's geometry class is struggling very badly right now. And with finals approaching, we desperately need to see those tests.
Is that any test, any quiz?
And
or
I cannot see,
assessment?
I've been asking since February, I cannot see any assessments at all in this one particular class. My daughter can't either. I had to schedule a meeting to go into the school. I was only given an hour to review the assessments. I could not hold them or look at them. She scrolled on the TV screen, and I couldn't even have the time to assess each question. And my daughter is an honors student. This is an honors class. She's in tutoring. We work 2 hours a day. We are struggling, and all I want is for her to see improvement. She wanted to be an engineer before she came to Ashley Ridge, and now she doesn't think she's smart enough to. So you're losing a woman in STEM because she can't review her tests and learn from her mistakes. And it's very frustrating right now, and we're desperately begging for help. We're not the only parents.
Sure. Yeah. No. We do not. I was not aware that that was the case, and I haven't experienced that with my own children, and they're in high school as well.
I was told it's a district policy, and so only the district can lift the policy.
I don't think that's.
I thought common assessments maybe, but I'll talk afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was wondering.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Some
Yes.
teachers
Definitely
use
make
the
sure
DCC
that
when
you
they're-
stay after for a few minutes if
Thank
you're
you.
able
I
to.
really
Okay.
appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank
Of
you.
course. No. Absolutely.
Thanks for coming
yeah.
and letting us know.
Yeah.
We definitely.
I've got one more card from somebody who hasn't talked at all, Ms. Diana Rush. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, the sunshine.
Do you need to read?
It's just a piggyback. I'm sorry. It's just a piggyback off of this young lady's question. I am new to the South in general. I moved here from DC about a year ago. I have 2 autistic children in DD2. And if autism was a spectrum, then like a proverbial spectrum, I have one who is at one end with very low support needs, and then I have one with very high support needs. I have been told for the last 2 months or so that they have no idea where he will go for kindergarten because there is no classroom that could contain him. I've been told that someone from the district would get back to me once they found a place for him, and school ends in less than 6 weeks. Kenji still has no placement. I am concerned also about, the erasure of DEI and inclusivity. It was never an issue where I come from. As a matter of fact, when we moved here, Kenji was receiving all of his services, speech, OT, PT, and ABA in school. To come here and only get services, I think 30 minutes a week, and only be in school for 2 hours. So, to piggyback off her question, I know you guys said, you're gonna follow the law, but what happens if there is a sudden departure or a reversion of funding and things of that nature? Will you guys have a moment to even be able to speak for those children?
I guess there's a lot there. So let me start. So at the end, you were saying, as far as the funding piece, is that what you're, okay? Yeah. So we do have something called fund balance. We have savings. We have money. Now it's not, in other words, if there is a temporary interruption in services, we are able to use that to make sure we are able to continue them. Yes. But like Ms. Bates was saying earlier, when we're looking at long-term funding unknowns, it's hard to plan for that because we aren't sure what's going to happen. So, we are, as we were talking, at the mercy of, local funding, state funding, and when it comes to some of those things, federal funding as well. So, we will be dealing with that as it happens. But I don't anticipate there would be just a shut-off from all services because, again, we do have funds that we can use temporarily to continue that. And, of course, as Ms. Bates also said, as we learn things and as we know things, we will be communicating constantly with our families and parents to make sure that you have all the information that we have and that you're on the same page as us so that you're able to plan accordingly for your family, your children as well. So we will partner with you in that piece of it. And then as far as the placement of your child, so is your child currently a student now? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, you are sitting right next to the right person to answer that question about your placement. And I definitely know that we want, did you say he? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, yes. We want to make sure he is in the best possible environment for him. And so I can assure you that Ms. Gadsden will take very good care of you when it comes to that.
All right, I think we've hit everybody that had cards. Everybody's gotten to talk at least once, and we are well over time. And I know we've got some little side conversations that need to happen after we break, and so I think we're going to wrap it up. Thank you again for everybody coming here. I will just say on a personal note that in a district of more than 26,000 students and 4,000 staff members, everybody look left and look right, and be proud of yourself for being in this room, because this is where change starts, and this is where conversations happen, and we appreciate all of you being here. Dr. Wimberly, you want to wrap up?
Yes. No.
Great.
Exactly what he said. Yes. Again, we appreciate you all being here, and we've had some good conversations, and so we would love to keep those going, because just as you came here to talk to us and have us answer your questions, I mean, we need your support too. We are looking out here at people who obviously care about the school district and care about education as we do, and as you've heard tonight, we definitely have some challenges, and there are a lot of opportunities where you can get involved and help us and help support us and help advocate. So if you are interested in being a part of that or learning more, please reach out to any of us. We would be more than happy to put you to work. So thank you again for your time. Have a great weekend.